Welcome to the Rebel Podcast. I'm your host, Debra Danielsen. We are including adventure experiences. This episode is about historic home tours. The most exciting thing about touring a house museum is the opportunity to step back in time and experience the way of life of people from a different era. This is especially true during holidays and festive events surrounding these beautiful historic home museums. House museums are typically well preserved and furnished with authentic period pieces, giving each one of us a glimpse into the past that is not possible from reading a book or looking at pictures. Joining us today on the Rebel Podcast to talk about the historic General Dodge House in Council Bluffs, Iowa, is Director Michell Hrdlicka. The General Dodge House offers a time travel experience for those who love, number one, seeing architecture and design. Visitors will be able to admire intricate details of the woodwork, elegant furnishings, and the overall layout of the house. It's also exciting to learn about the General and his wife, Ruth Ann, and their family who lived in the house. Their stories bring the past to life, giving all of us a sense of their personalities, their lifestyles, and of course, the challenges they faced. You may also learn about the family's business interests, their social life, and their contributions to the community. See the everyday objects that they used in this house museum and understand how technology has evolved. You look at such things as clothing, kitchen utensils, and toys. These objects helped you to understand the daily lives of people from different eras in detail. You can actually visualize what it would be like to live in this house as you walk through this mansion. Imagine what it would be like to live there now. Picture how it would be to cook in the kitchen, relax in the parlor, or sleep in one of the beautiful bedrooms. The Dodge House also offers special events and programs throughout the year. Touring any house museum is a unique and rewarding experience, offering a glimpse into the past and a way to understand history and culture in a better way. Hi, this is Debra Danielsen. I'm your host for the Rebel Podcast, and today we are going to talk to the director of the Dodge House. Her name is Michell Hrdlicka, and we're going to learn about these beautiful tours that they do at this historic house museum in Council Bluffs, Iowa. Welcome, Michell.
Thank you.
I heard that you just recently kicked off these holiday tours, with the most recent one being the candlelight tour for Halloween. How did that go?
It was wonderful. We ran, I believe, 94 people through the house in 3 hours. They had to go through the house without any lights on, but there were candles and flashlights. And as they made their way through the house, up in the ballroom, there was a big spread of food and drink for them. And
oh, how fun.
They just stayed upstairs in the ballroom for a while and enjoyed themselves and then finished their tour. But everyone was thrilled.
Did anyone get freaked out because they were in the dark?
No, the only time people really got freaked out is if they came upon the ghostly girl in the nursery. They thought she was a prop, but she wasn't. She was a 7-year-old little girl, my granddaughter, and she just sat on the floor, and as people would walk in, she'd just wait a few minutes and then look up and just stare at them.
Oh, how wild.
And she did a perfect job, so lots of comments on her. And then we had a few props here and there throughout the house that would take people by surprise, but we try not to make the Dodge House really scary because we're still very respectful of whose home that is.
For those of you who are not familiar with General Grenville M. Dodge, he was a general in the Civil War. And he also met with one of my relatives, Abraham Lincoln. They had a meeting up on the bluff to decide and agree upon where the eastern terminus of the railroad would actually be. And that is also commemorated with the Golden Spike in Council Bluffs. This wonderful, beautiful house museum is a Empire-style building, correct?
Yes, it is. It's Second Empire Victorian.
And what year is the house?
1869.
And is it 4 stories altogether?
If you include the basement, yes. So I would definitely say 4 stories because we tour the basement as well.
Right. So when you get to go to the Dodge House, you're looking at the whole lifestyle, the basement, first floor, second floor, and third floor ballroom.
Exactly.
And one of my favorite rooms in the house, well, I have 2 favorites. One is the ballroom. But my absolute favorite, when I was 16 years old, I gave tours at the Dodge House for one summer.
Oh, how wonderful.
And I loved General Dodge's bedroom.
Yes.
He has a sleeping alcove, which is like a big arch in the bedroom, and that's where the bed is. Back then, they had a real buffalo hide on the bed.
Exactly.
And so I would go up there and sit on the bed and admire the buffalo hide and look out towards Omaha. And to this day, I have a buffalo hide on my bed.
Very nice.
But the general and his wife had amazing taste. And unfortunately, part of the history of the house was at one point, it was actually a rooming house.
It was.
So tell us a little bit about that period and what it is now.
So in 1950, when Ann Dodge, the youngest daughter, passed away, they tried to give the house to the city, and the city did not want the house. The Historical Society did not want the house, and so it was sold to a gentleman by the name of Francis Taylor. Even though he made that into a rooming house, he always knew who the home belonged to. And he was very respectful in the sense that if he were to put up walls, he didn't tear anything down to do that. So when they started to turn this into a museum in the 60s, and they started taking down the walls that Francis had put up, it was like finding treasures. The original banister in the ballroom was still there. So Mr. Taylor was very respectful of whose home it was. And then in the early 60s, they started to, well, actually, we'll go back. The Historical Society raised the funds to purchase the house.
Nice.
And the funds were raised, and it was turned over to the city. And to restore the home back to what it once was, children would save their pennies and donate them to the Dodge House, and fundraising began. And room by room, the Dodge House was restored into the museum that we see today.
And it is beautiful.
It is beautiful.
It is breathtaking. And if you really want to see period furniture, if you're one of those people who admire, I guess, art and architecture, style, fabrics, linens, everything is there.
It is.
And it is there not just haphazardly, but it's really well appointed. Yes. I think it's very well done.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And everything that is in the house actually is of only the years that General Dodge's, General Dodge himself was alive. So all items in the house, there's nothing in the house past 1916.
Which is the way it should be.
Which is, yes, it is. And that is the year that the general passed away. So a lot of original Dodge pieces are in the home. We say that the first floor is the most authentic floor in the home, with the majority of the pieces there are Dodge pieces.
Excellent.
Yes.
And what I also love about the first floor is, I'm going to call it the infinity room, because the first 2 parlors are side by side like this, and there's a pocket door or an arch there. And on each wall of the opposing rooms are mirrors. And you can stand in there in the middle of that and look both ways and look at infinity.
Exactly.
It is amazing.
Yes.
Not to mention the fabrics and the carpets and all of the intricate details from down to calling cards. Everything is in there.
Yes, it is. And a lot of the things that we have in there, we have to keep in mind, before the house sold, everything in the home was auctioned off.
Yeah.
So how do we have original Dodge pieces? When it was being restored to a museum, the original auctioneers started reaching out to the purchasers of the items from the sale, asking if they wanted to donate their Dodge piece back to the house. Many, many people did. Others said, no, it's mine. But we still get pieces back today because a lot of the people that left their Dodge or kept their Dodge item, they put it in their will. So upon their passing, their Dodge item was to be returned to the Dodge house.
I love that.
Yes. So I would say probably every 2 to 3 years, we get an original Dodge piece back in the house. That is how we have our servants' table in the kitchen. It came back to the Dodge house. Everything comes home. And that's true for Dodge pieces.
I was always fascinated by the kitchen as well. I love the ceiling, how it's all tongue and groove wood and beautiful. I was so inspired by it that I did that in my kitchen in my house. But the amazing thing to me is now Christmas is upon us.
It is.
And one of the most beautiful times of the year for the Dodge house to shine.
It is.
And festive events that you have are at Christmas time.
Exactly.
So I hear you're going to do something new and you're going to have some candlelight tours available.
We will be having our candlelight tours. All of the lights in the house are shut off and we turn the candles on and all of the Christmas trees will be on. So you are guided through the Dodge house by twinkling lights and candles.
Which is cool.
It is, and it just makes the house magical, absolutely magical. And then as you get up to the ballroom, we have a spread of food and drink for everyone to enjoy. And we do that on December 16th. We start our tours at 6 o'clock and we shut it down at 10 o'clock. But it is by reservation, and that's on our website at dodgehouse.org.
Okay.
Or you can always call.
And tell me something. Are you going to play? One of my favorite things about the Dodge house is this magnificent, upright, you know what I'm going to say, music box.
Yes.
It's a disc music box.
Yes.
It is actually pretty rare.
Yes.
But the sound of this thing is so incredible that they actually made 45 records of it. I have one of the really old 45 records, and I love it, and I get it out and play it every now and then. So are you on these tours going to play this music box?
We probably will. We've got a lot of Christmas music that we can play on the symphonium. So most likely we will have that playing. It just adds a little bit more magic to the home.
Definitely.
And even though it's in the ballroom, you can hear the music from it all the way down to the main floor.
Yeah, the acoustics in the house are incredible.
They are.
And the library is so pretty.
It is. It is. And that is the most authentic room in the home. Before the sale took place, the public library came and removed everything from General Dodge's library and took it over to our public library and created the Dodge Room. And when we got the home to restore it as a museum, of course, the public library was more than happy to bring all of the General's items back.
How very beautiful is that?
So everything in that room is original.
So if you want to know what inspired General Dodge, what kept him up at night when he was worried about things, how he used his time and kept his mind busy. You can come and look at some of the titles right there on his bookshelf.
Yes, you can.
It's very revealing, I think. Mm-hmm. But every time I'm in the house, I'm reminded of how lucky we are to have that much authenticity still available, even though it was once a rooming house. And the other thing that I helped participate in for the Dodge House, because I love the Dodge House, I'm just like all about it, so proud of it. There was a time when some tough decisions had to be made, and it created a little controversy. But well-intended, very inspired people who wanted to restore the Dodge House and make it amazing went to a place called Drew's Antiques, which used to be like the premier antique dealer, like in the Midwest.
Yes.
And he really had high quality antiques. He carried furniture, light fixtures, all types of things. And I would put it on par with good antique stores on the East or West Coast.
Sure.
Well, there were several things purchased from Mr. Drew, put into the Dodge House that were past 1916, that were more, what would be the right term? Modern, more modern than what would have been in the house.
Yeah.
And the whole point of having a house museum is to create an authentic experience.
Exactly.
So there was a time when the board had to make some decisions, and they were difficult because a lot of people have been through the Dodge House, and maybe most of these items could have been favorites of theirs because they are beautiful.
They are.
But most of these are European too. They're not American frontier, here's what was here.
Right.
So that's why the change had to occur. So when they went to deaccession these items, they let people know that these were available. I put my name in the hat, and you had to bid on them. So the money went back into the house, and it went back into getting some of these other things that were more authentic, more original, so that when you go through the house, you have a truly inspiring feeling. And if you've ever seen the movie Somewhere in Time,
Oh, one of my favorites.
it captivates your intellect and your emotion about time travel.
Yeah.
And I feel like when I go into the Dodge House, especially at Christmas, that I'm stepping back into another era, just like Jane Seymour, just like
Yes.
all of that in Somewhere in Time.
Yeah.
And it's so enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah. You truly are stepping back into the 1800s when you come into the Dodge House. Many pieces are earlier pieces. We do have one item in the house that was not necessarily from Dodge's lifetime, but it was given to him, and that is the Simon Willard banjo clock that hangs in the staircase going
Really?
upstairs. And that is the oldest item in the house, and it is, I believe it is circa 1809.
Wow. Well,
So
it's beautiful.
It is beautiful, and it was a gift to General Dodge from his parents. And the story goes that when they built the home, the niche that the banjo clock hangs in was built specifically for the banjo clock.
I believe it. It fits perfectly.
It does. It does.
And you know, the Dodge mother and father, General Dodge's mother and father, they were not rich. They were not wealthy.
No.
Their house actually burnt down around 2000, I'm going to say, somewhere in there. Anyway, it burnt down, and what the sad thing was, it was a rental house, and it was not too far from my house, a couple of blocks.
Yeah.
But I remember that day, and that day changed my life because that's when I started my historic preservation thrust for Council Bluffs.
Yes.
Because when you have somebody who brought so much into Council Bluffs and took care of so much in Council Bluffs, and their house goes up in smoke, and now it's a parking lot again.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, oh no.
We have too many parking lots.
Way no. Now, one of the cool stories, too, that you tell at the Dodge House is about Ruth Ann. Ruth Ann, and, you know, she was not feeling well. And from that started a little odyssey, about a 3-day odyssey of her talking to her daughter and telling her daughter what was happening. Do you want to tell our audience about that?
So Ruth Ann had a dream, not just once, but 3 times. She dreamt of an angel coming to her with a basin of water. She was on the bow of a boat, holding a basin of water. And she offered to Ruth Ann to drink. And she brought her a promise and a blessing. And for me, it's actually just a heart-wrenching story because Ruth Ann said no. She didn't feel worthy of drinking from something so beautiful. And so she didn't drink. And for Ruth Ann to think she wasn't worthy, one of the most worthy people I can think of. She was a beautiful woman. And she told her daughters about that dream. And then the next night, she had the same dream. And again, she said, no, I'm not worthy. But on the 3rd night of having the dream, she drank that beautiful water.
And she told her daughter prior to going to sleep that night that she was going to do that, right?
Now that I don't know for a fact.
Well,
that's interesting.
That's what I was told.
Wonderful. Now that I don't have as a fact, but I'm not saying it's not. It's just not part of
the official story.
The story that I've been given.
Yes.
But she drank the water and she felt youthful and immortal. And then a couple of days later is when Ruth Ann passed away.
Yeah.
And so for the daughters, they wanted to create something in memory of their mother, and they commissioned Daniel Chester French to sculpt the Ruth Ann Dodge Memorial that locals know as the Black Angel. And she stands outside of Fairview Cemetery in Council Bluffs.
And she's beautiful.
She's beautiful.
Incredible. And we show the Black Angel on our travel adventure series, so look out for the episode about Fairview Cemetery and the walking tours there, and you can see this amazing bronze.
Yes.
It's just incredible. It belongs in a museum. It's so incredible.
It is incredible, and I know over the years, the angel has been vandalized. She's been painted. She's been vandalized. And because she is so precious, and she is a big part of Council Bluffs, they have done, I believe, inside and out 3D scans of her.
Wow.
So that if any part of her is ever severely damaged or broken, they know exactly how to fix her.
It was beautiful this year because they had the fountain running. They had the nice little pond full. It was just really breathtaking. You could almost hear the story of the dream and be there and just put yourself, again, you're transported, right?
You are.
It's an escapism.
Yeah.
You're literally watching something that happened to another person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let me ask you this. Do you feel that the #1 reason that people come into the Dodge House is because they've driven by it so many times and always wondered what was inside of it?
I think that would be a very good reason for people to come. We have people that have lived in Council Bluffs all of their lives and still have not made it to the Dodge House. But when they do come and they tell us that I've lived here all my life, this is the first time I've been here, And they come away with a huge appreciation for the Dodge House, General Dodge, and they always promise, we'll be back. This was wonderful. We don't know why we waited so long. So the locals, we get more and more of our own locals coming to the Dodge House, and we actually have people from all over the world come to the Dodge House. We keep track. We ask them where they're from. We have them sign our book so that we know where people are coming from. And some, they may just have a layover in Omaha, and they'll see our brochure and take an Uber over to the Dodge House for something to do, and they don't regret it. Everyone who walks out of the house is so happy that they actually made the trip over to the Dodge House.
The other cool thing that I'd like to mention, in case people are looking for a place to have a really nice event, is that you do make the ballroom available.
We do. We do rent out the ballroom. Pricing is dependent on the day of the week, what time of day, are you doing it at night, are you doing it on a day that we're not open, but anyone can call and we can give out that information on the pricing for it, and we're always there to help.
Having been in the Dodge House during the holidays and having been to special events there, I will tell you, if you're looking for a place to have an intimate wedding or just a beautiful tea or a family reunion, the ballroom is a totally amazing experience, and you can literally see probably 100 miles from the room, the windows up there.
I believe so.
If you want any more information about the Dodge House, what's a good number to call?
You can call 712-322-2406, and I'm there all the time, and if I'm not available, anyone who answers the phone is more than happy to assist someone.
Wonderful. And you can also go to your website. Yes. Can they make arrangements on the website? Can they set appointments there for the Christmas tours?
For the Christmas tours, that is where you're going to make your reservations. We do all of our reserved events on our website for where you can buy your tickets. We also have, that's where all of our events are listed. They're also on our Facebook page. That's how people find us.
And if you've never been to a true Victorian tea,
beautiful.
That is quite an experience there. I've had 2 there, and they have never been disappointing.
Yes. So our General's ladies, they do two teas per year, a fall tea and a spring tea. It is a full tea experience, several courses with your tea, and there is always a speaker there giving a presentation on many different topics. Our last one was Amelia Bloomer, which was fantastic. We have done Jane Austen. So they get very creative. Usually they fill up fast.
Yeah.
It is a booked event.
It is an event that I would never miss. And there are different kinds of teas at the UK where you have a high tea that has all the courses, and it's really splendid.
Yes.
So thank you for being on today.
Oh, thank you
and
for
I
having
look
me.
forward to coming to see you this Christmas.
Oh, please do.
Thank you for watching the Rebel Podcast on Cox Channel 22 and on YouTube and Spotify. You can also listen to us on Apple Music and Amazon. If you like the content of the Rebel Podcast, please hit like and share on YouTube, Spotify, and social media. And don't forget that if you want to support this broadcast, please donate through Spotify or YouTube. Thank you for watching.